This world's falling away. Some tell me now the fortune of the realm. Call on our savior to wipe out all the traitors. The earth trembled as we gathered ashore for the lands we swore to hold. For our kingdom glorious. Tell me now the fortune of the realm. Call on our savior to wipe out the traitors. The earth trembles as we gather ashore for the lands we swear to hold. For our kingdom
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Zero Gravity Esports. Over here on stream number one, we have Gold League week number 7 between Agni Kai and Clownfish 9. My name is Shinkari, and I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and we're ready to get this game underway. Picks and bans are about to get underway, and these two teams have still something left to prove. You got a couple mid-tier teams right here, 4-2 for Agni Kai. Clownfish 9 had some scheduling issues, so they're only sitting at 3-2, but both these teams really looking to put themselves higher in those standings to get those better seeds as we get closer and closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, we are starting to close in on to the final weeks here. So it is crucial for these teams to make sure that they are picking up wins as we get into these last couple of weeks. Clownfish 9 have readied up. We should be getting underway very shortly, and this should be a very exciting couple of games.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're starting to get into the we're getting into the picks and bans
Jeez.
immediately right off the bat. We have 3 bans. As I looked away and looked back, as much to Gavin, one of our other casters' chagrin, Kane has been banned away.
Yeah, Kane banned away. The Amumu taken off as well, as he has been a fairly strong both jungler and support that a lot of teams have started to pick up.
Yeah.
So not surprised to see that one either. The Jin also looking to be taken away here as one of the strong in lane AD carries with all of that range. One of the few I think that can actually handle a lane like that lethality Caitlyn that's been getting popular.
Yeah, for sure here, and definitely, Jin once again very strong champion here, and I think Clown Clownfish 9 coming into this, looking at this Lilia top lane. I believe we saw this a bit in their previous game that was on stream. I could be wrong. Um, yeah, no, okay, never mind, forget it. I know we saw Lilia top lane on stream recently, and this is definitely a pretty strong pick still. Um, she has received a couple of nerfs. I believe her mana regeneration and the damage on the swing were nerfed. And this is going to really hurt that top lane Lilia potential. So this
Mhm.
could be also a jungle Lilia as Ezreal
Yeah.
gets knocked in fragment.
Yeah, and I think she like even before that got changes. What okay. All right, we're getting the
All
Sona
right,
here. So
we're doing it.
Sona got a couple of buffs a little while back. Along it was a little after the I think the changes she got. And good golly gosh, Sona is a very strong support right now. Alongside stuff like the Soraka enchanters are really starting to pop back up in the meta. So now running the Ezreal with the Sona, it means that Sona can play pretty conservatively, not have to deal with trying to run up and get a lead for her AD carry in the early game. Just look to scale up as you get into the mid game. So that'll be a very calm, collected, just very sit back and farm style of bot lane.
Yeah, for sure. And with a Seraphine across from them, which is what I'm assuming that Seraphine is going, like this is going to be a pretty, I'll say, boring lane. I mean, Sona really gets punished if you're able to put some like pressure on her because even though her mana cost on her abilities got nerfed, she still is a champion that wants to be spending the Q and the W as much as possible in order to get that poke damage, in order to get those passive procs, right? In order to get that gold, right? Those are all the things someone wants to be doing. So if you put her up against something like a Nautilus or a Thresh, things that are still open, you are going to get, a lane that's real tough for the Sona. But if Seraphine is being locked in here, obviously they're just going to tip the hat to the bot lane unless, something wild comes out for the AD carry.
Yeah, and Seraphine mid has seen a bit of play as of late, but it's not super prevalent. I would expect it to be a support over a mid laner, but we will see how that goes. The Ashe is being banned away, so it seems like Agni Kai wants to take off some of these 80 carries that are somewhat potent against this Ezreal and make sure that
Yeah.
is taken away. Surprising though, the Gangplank lock in for the top lane. When you are running an enchanter support, you do need to find engage from a separate champion. And
Yes.
usually that comes from picking up a tank top laner, as tank junglers just have not been super great as of late. But Agni Kai is really going to have to find something that they could use for an engage tool in this jungler mid pickup here, because they are just lots of damage and nowhere to go.
Yeah, it almost seems like maybe an Echo or a Diana or a Xin Zhao in the jungler might be their initiator, but they're not
Hmm.
say as strong as maybe like a Hecarim or a Sejuani or even a Zac, right? And these
Hmm.
are some kind of like I'll say tier 2.5 kind of characters here. Hecarim, not as strong as he used to be, right? But still in the right hands and given enough time to really get to those items that he needs in order to deal the damage and survive is going to be interesting. But yeah, the Diana lock in, that's going to be the initiation that Agni Kai needs in order to start these team fights.
Yeah, but it also does mean they don't have that tank initiation. So if they do go in and they are behind, it is going to get incredible. Oh, well, okay, I'm apparently going to drop things. It does get very difficult for Agni Kai to start coming back into this game. Whereas Clownfish 9, they have the Shen. They're picking up that Caitlyn now. They have the ability to not only have their carries really far back, but they are going to be tanky enough that it's going to be very hard for Agni Kai to burst them down unless they get a super strong lead in the early game.
Yeah, and on the other side, it's really hard to like use Gangplank or even Ezreal's
I like this.
Galio being locked in. I love this. I was
Yeah,
actually going to recommend this for Agni Kai to pick up
exactly.
the Galio, right? But now be having that being kind of picked away in a sense here by Clownfish 9 here. They actually have like this insanely good reactive composition here that their carries can stand super far back. And even with this Irelia lock in here, they have Agni Kai has an initiation team onto Clownfish 9 here, but it's going to be real tough, right? How are you going to get past Galio taunt or even the stand united from
Mhm.
Shen in order to get on this Caitlyn, Seraphine, or Lilia? Not to mention, Lilia is real hard to lock down. She's real fast.
Yeah. So the big thing is, I was gonna say, not only are you taking that Galio and saying you can't have a strong mid lane tanky initiating presence, but you also are basically forcing that Diana instead of a flex pick to become a jungle pick because you are not going to want to put Diana up against Galio in the mid lane. You are
Yeah.
basically forcing it as a jungler, and the Irelia is going to be picked up. Most likely going to be going in the mid lane. We'll see as we get into the actual draft. But it is most likely going to be Gangplank top against the Shen and Irelia mid against the Galio. I'm worried for Agni Kai on this team composition because it is like they have to win lane. They have to get ahead early, at least in that mid and top, and then ride that wave as the Sona and the Ezreal scale up into that late game. But to me, it feels like their composition is very disjointed. Agni Kai's bot lane is looking to just scale, but if they just try to scale, the Caitlyn, the Shen, the Galio, they're all going to be huge and really hard to take down. And the Seraphine ult through an entire team is going to be hard to deal with Agni Kai.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I totally agree with you that they do kind of have to win lane here. But, we take a look at the laners here, and the best one is Irelia by far, right? Gangplank, after he got nerfed, had been gutted in terms of the laning presence that he has, right? The Q now counts as a ranged auto attack, which means you're going to be healing less off a Grasp of the Undying. You get less barrels at the early levels of your W, right? You get 5 at max ranked, which is hilarious, but that's not until the late game. That's not until way later. This Gangplank's early dueling power is significantly worse, and against a Shen who does have some good early levels, even though it's another tank that wants to scale, right? Can 1v1 duel after he picks up a Bomby Cinder, and even if he falls behind, picks up a Bramble Vest.
Yeah, when Shen, honestly, I would not be surprised to just see those two are the rush items. You get the bombies and then you splinter off, get the Bramble Vest.
Eventually.
Gangplank can't do anything. Become a strong duelist threat in that top lane. Shen right now to me is an absurdly strong top laner for a couple of reasons. He is able to show up around the map. He is very strong in lane despite that fact. That he can show up around the map. One of his abilities is literally just teleport to another area and shield
Yeah.
somebody. And he still can put out a bunch of damage. As we do have people struggling a little bit with the picking and banning here.
Oops.
Yeah. Are we
Does give
going?
us a little bit more time to chit chat though. I mean, yeah,
Not
it's
again.
it's really tough. Okay. Well, oh, are we just gonna have to
We
okay, this
are.
is really distracting.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, like you said, like they're gonna have to win lane in a lot of these cases. And it just seems to me like this Ezreal might have to rush the Sheen over the tier. And in that case, feels just really bad, right? Like Sheen over tier in order to get yourself that early laning power as fast as possible feels really bad because you're not able to start scaling up that tier in order to turn it into a Mermana.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are seeing lots of chit chat going on in that
Yeah,
lobby, and we're just gonna ignore that for now, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, let's just kind of break down what Clownfish Nine are gonna really be looking to do, and I
Mhm.
think the long and short answer is scale. Right. The Caitlyn is gonna hit a strong white item power spike, and kind of try and ride that wave up into the mid to late game. I'm assuming this is going to be the lethality Caitlyn, but could also be a different one. As lobby is bugged, so we will be
Yeah.
pulling people over. One moment as I get you into this one, Shinkari. But yeah, so it's just gonna be a very strong kind of like one item power spike. Hit that hit, you get that serrated dirk, and you're basically good to go. And then you have the Lilia who can just run interference in the middle of skirmishes, the Seraphine ult, the Shen ult. When these ultimates are up, Clownfish 9 are basically in control of any fight that they get to first.
Yeah. It's going to be really tough, right? Because there's just so much zoning potential from
Yeah.
just the Galio and the Caitlyn, and even to a degree the Lilia, a bit to a lesser extent, right? Because of just how much range her ball has, right? Just keeps going until it hits something.
Yeah.
Um, it's just the amount of space that if they're able to gain priority early, are able to get these lanes early, and are able to get to objectives first, and even snowball that into mid game where they're able to spread their vision a lot, get to mid, get to the excuse me, the mid. Uh, God, I'm brain farting so bad. These objectives.
Just get in the game,
First.
guys, please. I'm begging you.
Yeah. I'm just super distracted because I'm like looking at like 12 things at once. Um, if they're able to get to these objectives first, place down the wards, their traps, whatever they need to, it's gonna be really hard to contest them on these drills. Super hard.
Absolutely. The amount of just control over fights that Clownfish
The
has
weak
is
fear the
really scary.
shadows.
But for
Fear
Agni Kai, let's
controls
talk about
them.
what they have for strengths here.
Yeah.
Because Gangplank and Aurelia, while they are not always known for being the strongest in terms of that very early game, they do have that pop-off potential, and when they start to get a lead, they become problems that Clownfish 9 will have to dedicate some resource to, and it's basically going to have to be the Shen. And if Shen cannot handle that person, Clownfish 9 might be in danger of getting split pushed to death.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, these are two really high split pushing threats, and even with Gangplank running probably teleport as well, has a lot of global pressure with that ultimate if their team fights. So they end up these team fights, which would normally be a 4v5, ends up being like a 4.5v5, right? Because you're still getting the ultimate out of the split pusher, right? You're not like they're not completely gone from the fight.
Correct. Yeah, it's basically like Shen has to respond to those champs. The harder it gets for Shen, the worse it's gonna get for Clownfish 9 as a whole. Just
Yeah.
there is and I have seen games where Socks and Thighs has completely taken over and won the game solo. So
Mhm.
it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it is definitely gonna be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said again, a lot of these champions need to kind of snowball into the late game. And because there's also scalers on the other side, it really comes down to who's going to get this lead first, right? Because if you have a scaling champion that gets ahead early, it's going to be really tough to stop them because they're doing nothing but going up from that point as well. So, once again, like we're looking at the Sona and the Ezreal bot lane. Like you said, this is a lane that's not super strong in the lane itself, right? Sona has some decent poke damage, right? But and potentially won't get punished too badly, right? Because it really only comes down to Caitlyn and Seraphine poke damage, which Sona can heal through. So as we get into this late game, Sona is going to be throwing off a whole lot of ultimates. They just need to get there first.
I
Not
think that
not
is
like
a
and not like get there first and then they get to do the thing. It's get there first before the enemy team.
yeah, and I think that is one of the more unknown things here is I've not still seen a lot of Sona post the mini rework that she's had.
Right.
Um, what is that Sona mid to late game gonna be like? Because she's gonna start hitting a point where it becomes very quick to get those stacks on the Sona, especially when you're focusing on the heals.
Yes.
You can very quickly build up those stacks, even if you're not able to poke people in lane, like the Sona will not be able to. And it's going to get very kind of scary when Sona hits those max stacks and is able to hit those ultimates more often compared to the Seraphine, who has had her ultimate nerfed, or the cooldown nerfed so much. People made the comparisons of, oh, Seraphine is just Sona if she was created today. Well, now
Yeah.
Sona has a little bit more uniqueness to her, and that ultimate is going to be out a lot more than Seraphine's.
Yeah, I mean that's the huge difference here, right? Seraphine might have an ultimate that goes for a million miles, but Sona has just her ultimate up just so much more often, right? And with those stacks that she's able to get kind of okay during lane, right? You're mostly going to be getting it from the W. The biggest change I think to Sona during that mini rework was just touching her mana costs on her abilities.
Yes.
That was the biggest thing. That was the biggest change for me.
It,
And then when messing around with it a little bit, it seemed like I got most of my stacks from hitting the W and healing my lane partner, and from them eating damage from the shield, which
yes.
should happen a whole lot considering they're up against a Seraphine and a Caitlyn.
Yeah, this is actually, I've seen some people maxing the W first on Sona just because of the ability to get that
Unheard of.
heal out and get the shield more strong to deal with poke like that. And especially just with the way that ultimate cooldown is going to get reduced. I think that's going to throw a lot of people off that are not used to the Sona, and could open up opportunities for Agni Kai.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game 1 of Clownfish 9 versus Agni Kai. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Fellow armsmen, I ask you, will you follow me tonight to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine? Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Oh, 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. Fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end? There's way more to avenge. Oh, 15 million souls living in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. echoes of pain. Vi sörger, vi sörger. Cold and empty, lifeless remains. Vi sörger, vi sörger. Fields of the fallen, blood-washed in rain. This cannot be all that will be. So you have torn this world apart. You came for our suffering. So we'll bleed, cut us deep, find the death that you seek. But just remember, we retreat, but we'll live on. Those that die aren't forgone. Just remember. Gone is our home now, it's only memories. Vi sörger, vi sörger. Looking onto a life that can never be. What did you believe? Believe you would find. And so you have torn this world apart. You came for our suffering. So bleed, cut us deep, find the death that you seek. Just remember, we retreat, but we'll live on. Those that die aren't forgone. Just remember.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and we are ready to get this game one between Agni Kai and Clownfish 9 underway. This is week 7 of play. We're inching ever closer to those finals rounds. And now these teams both need to secure some wins in order to get themselves some good seeding. And now we're up to a 5-point start, and we're ready to get this underway. Dawson, are you ready?
I am ready, as everybody's just fanning out. Nothing spicy going on here. And
there's-
should just be a standard start. There is nobody here that has like a really super good level 1 that they want to take.
Yeah, there's no Morganas, nor Threshes, Darius. There isn't an Udyr. Udyr has a decent level 1. Who else?
Ken
Who else
does
is
not
really
want a
good?
level taunt
Yeah.
at level 1,
Con-
so
Con- Kennen isn't here. Annie isn't here.
Kennen?
Kennen, yeah, Kennen has one of the best level 1s in the game.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay.
Regardless, it is
Regardless,
like you
here we
said.
are. We got a pretty mirrored start between these two junglers here. So they're going to be going up into that top lane as they do their full clears, which means we might see a fight around the scuttle crab as
Scoodle.
Soxy dies. Scootle crab. It's midway through saying scoots and scuttle crab, so
Skibbity
dude,
boop bop
you
boop
just-
boodle.
yeah. Beep, boop, bop, bop, Buddha. Yeah, you know.
You know, just scat man it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
There was a
everyone
time where I tried to
does
there was
that.
a time where I tried to memorize that song as Socks, and oh my god, yeah, this is the Irelia experience right here. Oh man. Takes the turret shot.
Yeah, well, that's gonna get better once Calio does get to the level 3 point. Has that taunt for a little bit more of a threat on the engage. But yeah, level 1, Irelia is really frustrating to deal with for any melee character.
Yeah, it's real tough too, because Galio also is sitting on bone plating, which I'm not exactly a fan of, and a whole lot of other tank players seem to be going away from. A lot of them are opting for even second wind. But I feel like even on Galio, like, conditioning just seems better. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I get why the bone plating, because just very in these early trades it does help, but it definitely struggles in the later games. We do have an engage up on this top side here.
Bush is able to land that taunt, and that's real. A whole lot of damage. The burn is good. Flash forward. Lazy Bush is able to get a kill, but dies underneath the turret. Meanwhile, PL Inspire is going to take a whole chunk of damage from this Caitlyn in the bot lane, who most of y'all probably know Caitlyn, probably for taking maybe a fleet footwork or perhaps a lethal tempo. Not this game. So amusing. Going to be opted for that Dark Harvest.
Yeah, and this has been the build as of late on Caitlyn. You go for the Dark Harvest, you go for the Duskblade into Collector, and you just get so disgustingly strong when you kind of get an early lead on that. You just pop people with your Qs, your ult takes everyone down to half health at least, and you are just constantly farming out those Dark Harvest stacks.
Yeah, it's sometimes really easy to get these Dark Harvest stacks too, just because of the Caitlyn's ultimate too. So definitely going to be watching out for how many stacks this Caitlyn gets as this game progresses. But yeah, really going to be looking for those Qs and those ultimates for the high damage from the Caitlyn.
Problem is, yeah, the big thing too is there is no tank on Agni Kai. They are not gonna have anybody that's gonna like be like, all right, I don't care, it's lethality, Caitlyn, as SOM is moving down towards that bottom side, looking to maybe gank. Make it a little too obvious, guys.
Yeah, Psalm was spotted out by a ward in the river here, and also like an aggressive move from the Ezreal means it's like, yeah, there's a jungler now. This Ezreal doesn't arcane shift forward.
Sona's running in front of the wave.
Yeah,
easy kill, right?
It reminds me of when I first started playing League of Legends. I would be like, "Hey, I see you." Whenever someone in all chat, whenever someone walked into a bush that was warded, but so amusing to take it incredibly low here. Tortuga doing a whole lot of damage. Levi is now shown up into the fight here. They're dodging around the ball, but a lot of damage. No kills this time.
Yeah, Lilia not exactly super great in the early game. She wants to scale up, get some of those items, get the points in the queue, and then show up. As GP, this is what Shen does. This is why I hate this champion.
Yeah, this is the Shen do be doing things.
Yeah.
Shen do be out here really saying
this is your team fight tank, by the way, guys. Just soloing a duelist in the top lane.
Yeah, Shen is in the same category as Ornn, where they're like tank is in quotation marks. It's like, oh
tank
yeah,
is the secondary job.
Yeah. Tank is in quotation marks, because like even Ornn does like a whole lot of damage. There are some times where like Ornn and I think Dr. Mundo is also in this category as well. It's just like, oh yeah, they just build defensive items, and then they're just big meatballs. No.
Yes. Okay, Dr. Mundo kind of fits that, but at the same time, he doesn't have hard crowd control in his kit. Like compared to Shen with a taunt or Ornn with literally like 7 kinds of crowd control.
Okay, but if Season 9 Tom Kench has taught me anything, sometimes all you need to do as a tank is just stand in front of skill shots. As a lazy Bush is getting a gank from Levy in the top lane. Akatsuki Zuzu is taken incredibly low here. Doesn't have anywhere to go. Going to try to turn this into a 1-for-1 as best he can, but it can't. Levy's going to be able to pick up the kill with that jungler showing top lane. Does mean the dragon is going over to the red team.
Yeah, and this would be the only time that Dragon would be available, just because it's that Ezreal Sona. They're not going to have that push pressure. So good heads up to say like, hey, Lily is top. Let's get this Dragon while we can. And unfortunately, Akatsuki kind of getting a little bit greedy there, I feel. If I am GP in that situation, I'm running under tower and I'm dying before Lilia can get the assist. Because that's just free gold that you're giving away to the enemy team when you allow somebody else to hit you.
Yeah, I mean, the other issues could just be that Lilia is just probably a lot faster than GP. GP only recently bought boots, and Lilia is sitting on tier 2 boots right now. So, like, realistically, how quickly could you get away from Lilia and die under turret?
I mean, he dodged the E, and I think she was still a bit far out at that point, so I think it would have been possible, but that's, I mean, I'd have to take another look at it to be sure. Yeah. Regardless...
I'd say 2020, but we're going to have to continue looking with our normal sight into this video
game. You said that, and it's like, do you just have eyes on your butt? Like, is that what hindsight is? Or SOM?
Okay, well, we're going to have to answer a different question. Is Kiba Kun going to die, but has to flash away? That's going to be the Stand United, so it looks like the answer is going to be no. Shen shows up in the top lane, and Shen shows up in the bottom lane, is able to sort of save the Seraphine this time.
Okay, couple of things here. One, SOM screwed up the Diana ult, obviously, and the exhaust came through. I don't think the Shen ult was needed. And that's actually kind of a big deal because it gives GP an opportunity to farm this top lane safely and not have to deal with the powerhouse that this Shen has become very quickly. So that is a huge amount of time that Lazy Bush is missing. You can see he's already now fallen behind in the CS, in the levels, and GP gets a little bit of space despite that rough start.
Yeah, and you know, like, even though Lilia was in that top lane to kind of like grab and like defend the turret for a little bit, like, and ultimately was fine, right? You're right.
Yes.
The gangplank here is now ahead in the CS and ahead of the level, so it's gonna be, you know, whatever lead that Shen had is now gone. Take a look at the gold. The
yeah,
difference
exactly
between them
the
is
same.
one, which is ironically an assist, maybe a little bit more than that.
It is a minion.
Yeah, it is a minion.
So yeah, Gangplank is feeling okay, and now is starting to get points into those barrels. So this is the part where you said, you know, Gangplank is going to get to be a bit scarier as he gets access to more barrels leveling up. And now Shen will just kind of be trying his best to catch up. He's not even going for those tank stats, going straight into that Titanic Hydra, it seems like.
Yeah, that seems to be the only thing that I can think of that with those items. Like, not even, like, maybe, okay, well, Caps off here is going to knock into the, really ultimate miss. Now the rest of the team is here to answer. They're drowsy, they're asleep, they're, not knocked into the air. Ezreal ultimate comes across, Socks and Thighs might be good, but that's the chilling smite, the spin, the auto attack. That's the last bit of damage they need. Socks and Thighs dies.
Yeah, but that was also a lot burned just to kill that Irelia. Socks and Thighs did play that. Oh, SOM, buddy.
SOM dives in, doesn't get that Diana ultimate, now has to back away. And, yeah, I hate to see it.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. There's a TP bot.
Wait a minute, teleport. Shen's coming. Shen's coming into the spot lane, forced to flash away, looking for the Ezreal. The taunt is good. That's going to be the charm as well. Root! The stun is so good! Kiba-kun picks up the kill onto Tortuga.
Yeah, good pick up there, and just stacking the CC exactly as needed. SOM now. Katsuki actually just kind of walking down into this mid lane to help out. But yeah, overall, unfortunately, Ezreal not able to get away from that, did not use the shift as ideally as possible there, and the flash was not up. Interesting to see the immediate Glacial Shroud being picked up by this Ezreal.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting considering there's not a whole lot of attack speed characters on the enemy team, but that's going to be, it's going to be the Cannon Fire coming onto so amusing here. That's going to be a Stand United as well. SON is taking incredibly low. They're looking for the kill on the Kiba-kun. They might be able to get it, but it's going to cost the Diana's life. Inspire's now the next target, but Tortuga is here. That's going to be them backing off as now looks at Socks and Thighs is here. Maybe to scare off this Shen. Is spotted out by some turrets. The dragon is spawning and there is no bot lane. This could mean a second Drake for the red team.
Yeah, well, Shen is here though, so he's definitely going to be around. The Gangplank does not have ult. We'll have to TP in if they're going to try and contest this, but honestly, I'm just giving this. If I am Agni Kai, I'm just giving this. You don't have SOM, you're not going to be able to do anything. They're going to take it quick enough. Tortuga, please, I'm begging you, buddy. Don't do this to your team.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out the ultimate here to stop the back from Gangplank here, and this might actually be pretty big. Gangplank is already, look at the difference between Gangplank and Shen right now, and he's also like pushing on the turret as well. Like, take a look at this top lane. This turret is nearly gone. There's only 1.5 plates left.
Yeah, all of this, because remember the whole process of this is SOM.
Oh yeah, SON throws out the ultimate here, trying to get a 1v1 here, put to sleep though. Levy is taking incredibly low. Tortuga hops over the wall. That's a shutdown for an Ezreal. That is real big.
That's very big there, getting the kill onto the Ezreal, who is the late game insurance, and making sure that he starts getting off the ground now. But just to tie things back too to that Shen. The Shen TP'd down bot side to help on that gank. They did get the kill. And then almost immediately after, Shen had to ult back to the bottom lane and basically was spending all his time helping his bot as SOM.
Yeah, Kiba-kun throws out the ultimate, but it doesn't land. SOM at the end of the day has got to be happy about taking that Seraphine ultimate.
Yeah, the flash coming through as it happened actually buffered it. I'm not sure if Kiba-kun was aware that was a thing, but
Yep.
did buffer it to go in between there as turret plating will be falling soon. Agni trying to get this last tower plate before they run out.
Yeah, and it's really important just to get a little bit more gold onto this Ezreal here because he bought that Glacial Shroud first, delaying the Divine Sunderer. He's gonna need just a little bit more gold here as Akatsuki Zuzu here being dumped by the Lazy Bush, but he might have bitten off just a little bit more than he could chew. Levy is finally here, forced to flash underneath the turret. There's the slam, a TP coming down from Socks and Thighs underneath this turret. Lazy Bush still looking for more. One turret shot, two turret shots. That is good. Socks and Thighs now has to fight the Galio. That heroic entrance was good, but it's Akatsuki Zuzu's trying to turn this around. Socks and Thighs diving onto Kapsov here. He's gonna be slowed down. There is the cannon fire here. Kapsov now has to run the opposite direction, trying to get onto a Zuzu here, but can't quite do it. 2 for 0 for the red team. Levy is still here. Might be able to catch a 1-for-1. Okay, gonna be hit by the ball. There's the Drowsy. This might be good. Knife for Akatsuki. Zuzu goes into the bush. Can he turn around? There's the gunshot, but that's the shutdown for the deer. Levy is gonna leave nothing but a grave in the top lane.
Yeah, Levy coming up big time there. That's why I'm now trying to come on this bot side.
Once again, yeah, Amusing, there's the Diana. The ultimate, the last bit of damage isn't going to land, but Amusing is just going to die to a stray Q, and that's going to pick up a kill in the bot lane.
Wait, Levy
killed Socks and Thighs? We missed it. I think she dove into the top lane trying to kill the Shen or something.
No,
I don't know.
yeah, well, Shen ulted. I think Levy, I think I really tried to kill Levy. And then Lazy Bush ulted in and protected the deer.
Yeah.
As now SOM just helping push this bot lane, looking to get that first tower here, as they should be able to do so with the Sheen. Just an immediate rush on the Frozen Heart.
Oh
and I'm kind of just a little baffled by it. Like, okay, Seraphine, Lilia, and Galio are the only AP threats, and they're not major AP threats. And the armor is very good against the Caitlyn. It will negate a lot of that damage from because of the lethality specifically. I just think you are sacking so much damage that it is not worth it. You are not gaining as much as if you went straight for the Sunderer and had that healing and that damage.
Yeah, Zuzu's taking that turret in the top lane here. Lazy Bush trying to fight, but look at how much damage Zuzu's doing in this top lane here. Man.
Can't dodge barrels.
Yeah,
you can dodge shots. You can't dodge barrels, as it is already the Essence Reaver completed on this gangplank, and he's going to start getting very scary. The Blade of the Ruin King is finished on the Irelia as well, and that is a huge turning point. There is a reason that that item is built before you finish off a mythic item on Irelia.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now they've picked up this Rift Herald here, which can be pointed mid as the only outer turret left. So now they're starting to set up for Drake, which spawns in about 15 seconds here. So it does look like we have Cryo going over to the red team here, going over to Clownfish 9. Let's see how they.
Oh, that's Agni Kai.
Yes, that is Clownfish 9.
On red?
Yes.
No, that's Agni Kai, buddy.
Are you sure? Okay.
I'm positive.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Yeah?
Yep, now we got a team fight coming across the Ezreal. It's going to help secure the Dolphin. That's huge across the team, but Seraphine is even bigger. Lazy Bush is forced to flash out of the team fight. That's a heroic entrance, knocking out 3 people, but will it save the team? That's going to be another kill going over to the Irelia as a double kill now. So Amusing is the only person left on this team. Uses the Summoner Heal to try to get away, but Zuzu and Tortuga are looking for more. EQ doesn't get that last bit of damage. Zuzu's going to use that last bit of damage to try to get... Okay, don't die to the turret. Come on. Come on, folks. Come on, folks. What are we doing here? All right.
Renegades Dignitas? Hello?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's break down that fight, because that was a very interesting fight, actually. The Diana goes in, gets the ult on a bunch of people, dealing a ridiculous amount of damage onto an entire section of that team. And I thought it was going to start to turn around because that Seraphine Encore was very big. It was a very massive Encore and hit almost everybody. But the problem was, after that... Oh, hold up.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Socks and Thighs is asleep here. The
should be
rest of the blue
fine.
team is moving to collapse here. We do have a bit of movement speed from the Cloud Drakes. Cloud Drake circle.
They're
here,
good.
but
They're good.
yeah,
All right.
it
So
looks like they're fine.
after
You can't go back.
after that Encore, though, they were sitting in the oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, Capsov, yeah, looking for a fight, but it's currently 4v1. That's going to be the Stand United coming across. The Socks and Thighs is going to be able to pick up a kill. Levy finding a second in the backside here. And now they're looking for more, but they're so slow. They can't find that last bit of damage in order to finish off more kills here. So, but it is a 2-for-1 in this mid lane.
Yeah, a lot of skirmishing going on right now, and that is helping out this Sona big time, because she is just running around giving everybody buffs and a little bit of extra damage on that Q. So Sona's feeling pretty fine, and Socks and Thighs able to put out a lot of damage. Finally, SOM hitting these ultimates as well is doing a lot of work. And gotta get it out before they start fighting again. That dragon fight, the big turning point was that GP ult. Not only was it directly on top of the carries for Clownfish 9, there was also the Death's Daughter upgrade, so that middle of the ultimate was dealing a bunch more damage.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're looking closer into this mid game. As we're getting closer and closer to this late game here, 20 minutes in, we're now looking at about a 6.2 thousand gold lead separating Agni Kai and Clownfish 9 right now. And this is a pretty tough spot to come back from. It's doable, and I think they have the tools to do so. They just need, you know, to maybe get some better vision, get to these objectives first, and be able to zone out the opposing team from getting onto their backline with this Caitlyn here.
Yeah, quick update for you on the Sona stacks. We are sitting at 73, I believe, right now. 74. Yeah, and so Sona is definitely starting to get off the ground here. Still going to be scaling up, but do remember, it is not just an unlock. It is always going to be getting better and better as she gets more stacks.
Yeah, so 120 stacks is the number that she needs
Correct.
in order to start getting that cooldown reduction on her ultimate. She can continue getting stacks after that, but it just reduces the cooldown of her ultimate by 1.5 seconds, which very valuable, but no more basic ability haste.
Correct. Ooh, I'm using...
And over the wall here might be in some trouble. That's going to be the Diana.
Oh
the
my
cross
God.
killing top of the Seraphine, but that's going to be the cannon fire. Meanwhile, they're fighting on the backside here, but SOM continues to collapse onto Levy here. Zuzu is now on top of the golden deer, but not going to be able to get the kill this time. Call Akatsuki Zuzu the Black Eagles, because they just killed the goal.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I thought this was going to be a Naruto reference.
Yeah. What?
Do you not know that's where Akatsuki comes from?
Yeah, I know that's where it came from, but I was talking about the golden deer.
Okay, well, shut up. I'm not. Yeah. And okay, let's actually break down what happened there too, because basically Amusing got caught, and these exhausts from Kibakun, they were really great early on. They're coming out later and later as the game goes further, and SOM is popping people with these ultimates, getting exactly who they need to. And also, Akatsuki Zuzu is hitting these cannon barrages directly on top of the Diana who's ulting them. So it is a bunch of damage from super long range very quickly.
Yeah. Because now once again, we're at this dragon, but the red team is here first. The blue team now has to respond. That's going to be the Shurelya's Reverie coming across, but that's going to be Ezreal ultimate as well. Doesn't give us much damage, but that's going to be a great Sun ultimate. Sunning up the Shen, but look at how much damage SOM does. Levy has to go golden in order to not die. SOM is now in the middle fighting this Galio here, but has to run away. They've lost 1-0 and now looking for more. Capsov runs away as well. They have to full retreat. The red team has yet to lose a single member, but SOM still looking for blood here. So Amusing hops over the wall. It looks like they're going to back away. Looks like they're going for Baron.
Yeah. Should be a fairly easy pickup too. Levy has to go back and just heal up, make sure that base does not get cracked. And with that Sona and that GP, they're going to be very quick in taking that Baron. And it should be Agni Kai who are just keeping the pressure hard here, sitting up at about 7k gold. 10k gold now. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I was talking about how 6k gold was tough, but you can come back from it. This is very tough, and it's nearly impossible to come back from a lead like this. Teams have done it, but it's once again, it's really, really tough. You really have to grit your teeth, really be careful about how you're pushing out these waves when they come crashing towards you, and also make sure that you're grabbing as many of these jungle camps as you can, even though it's not your map to control anymore. Defensive warning is going to be very important, which is already in their favor, right? We look at the top side of the map, this top side of the jungle here around Baron buff. There's still some blue pink wards around there, and they've warded up the mid lane as well, so some decent defensive wards already. But you know, they really have to play careful and play the safest they could possibly.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that CF9 are gonna have to really do right now is just scale, just buy time, try and get things to go longer and longer, and allow for that Galio and the Shen to kind of get their beefiness. They can soak up this burst damage from the Diana and the GP, and honestly, this Caitlyn and Seraphine, they need to stay far back and make sure they are not getting picked off like they have been in the mid portions here. Because they haven't had those wards down, So Amusing and Kibakun have been getting caught out by that Diana, and it has lost them fights multiple times over.
Yeah, it's really tough with all these squishy characters on the team. There's more than half of them don't have a whole lot of resistances, if any, right? And the armor on Lilia is more of a formality, right? As Daisy Bush and Socks and Thighs are fighting, but the rest of the blue team might be collapsing onto the Irelia here. The ultimate is popped, and that's going to be Lazy Bush falling. The rest of the blue team is looking for more. That's going to be Shirelia's Reverie popped, and that's going to be a shutdown going on a Galio, though. But here comes the red team, the cancer. Sora ultimate comes across and stuns up Kibakun, who's able to find that last bit of damage. SOM goes golden, but it's low HP. There's the taunt, there's the turret shot, there's the Justice Punch! As Kavasov is going to be able to pick up that kill as well. Ace in the hole comes across, not going to be able to kill Sona this time. Tortuga, the bot lane of Tortuga and Inspire are the only members left as Kavasov, and it's So Amusing have to lick their wounds and run back to the summoner platform here.
Once again, SOM in that backline, getting onto the Caitlyn. So Amusing having to just completely back off in that fight. So now Tortuga might have stayed a little bit too long. No, Capsov's gonna be fine. GP on that bot side as well, just shoving out, getting that inhibitor tower down. Has some people showing up, but Lazy Bush does not want any of that.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting here because there are like a couple of interesting choices here in terms of itemization. The Gangplank has opted for, oh man, just going right for the edge. Okay, so we're just doing damage with barrels here. All right,
this
cool.
is like pre-rework Gangplank now, isn't it? Just straight up crit damage, and that was my favorite. Just walk up, push Q, and kill people.
Yeah, it's really insane the amount of damage being done. I mean, the only difference is that he's not running Divine Sunderer. He's opting for the Immortal Shield Bow instead, but
that's been more common since GP did get his changes. Crit has just become more and more valuable on him, and yeah, the barrels hurt pretty darn good when you are this far ahead on the GP.
Yeah, as now the red team doing a good job of setting up for this dragon right now. It's just really tough to really get into these team fights and really contest these objectives right now. Like we said, there's now a 10,000 gold difference is nearly impossible to come back, right? It's just, I know I said before that like 10,000, you can, if you turtle real hard, you might be able to do it, but you know, you can't just get 10,000 gold from from minions. You're gonna have to do it from fighting, which is they're trying to do with Socks and Thighs, but look at the healing. Holy moly. Socks and Thighs was half HP before they did this fight, and now they're looking to
Moonstone,
push
baby.
even more. Yeah, hashtag shout outs. Shout outs to Moonstone Renewer, the OG.
Only true fans will remember.
Yeah, only true fans will remember. You think you're a Moonstone Renewer fan? I have enough channel points to highlight my message in chat. As Mr. Relia's reverie pops, they're looking for this engage. But Sona is so fast, it's a great intro. That's SOM looking for something here, but is done before they can even do anything here. That's going to be Irelia falling as well, but look at Tortuga. Tortuga has full HP, and so does Akatsuki here. Now, but that's going to be the Sam United onto Levy as well. They're looking for this last bit of damage, but they're retreating underneath the turrets here to try to make it back to their base. But the poke damage from Tortuga is so good.
Yeah, technically that is a win for CF9, but it is not a win in terms of their base. Tortuga is very scary, and Akatsuki Zuzu, also a very threatening boy right now. They're trying to lick their wounds and keep their Nexus alive, which they will do thanks to taking care of the Irelia and Diana. But it is still a very long road for Clownfish 9 to get back into this game. Baron will be spawning in just a couple seconds, and it should almost assuredly go over to Agni Kai here, as there is no room for CF9 to get over there.
Yeah, for sure. As now, like they need to see if their opponent is going for. I mean, they probably saw the sweep from their team, right? They probably saw the sweep on the map, so they probably know that the Baron is happening. But realistically, what can they do here, right? Are they really going to fight 5v5?
They can
right?
they can cry. They can say, "Hey guys, they're doing Baron."
Yeah.
They can say that's cool. Like, there is not anything realistic that is going to happen from this. They got to keep their base alive, and going to the Baron is basically a loss.
This is going to be Ezreal ultimate coming across, but I think this is going to be the red team just shoving it down this top lane here. As they already have super minions pushing in the other two lanes. They don't really have a whole lot to grab there, so getting this last turn, this last inhibitor seems to be the win condition for Agni Kai.
This should be just a formality at this point. Agni Kai just needs to push in and get the Nexus down. They're going for this last inhibitor to just crack things open completely. Capsolve is trying to push this. The big issue right now is there is not a strong engage that Agni Kai really have. They have the Shen and they have the Galio, which are great follow-ups for dives or, you know, super strong tanks that want to just dash in and engage. They don't have that tank to do it themselves.
Yeah, it's looking real good. And Capsop, yeah, this really has to put on the fill that roll themselves. But look at how quickly they melt SOM now in the backline as well, doing so much damage. A lazy bush is now the only person left. The Kibatun is still alive as well. Levy is still alive, but they're taking so much damage. Triple kill for the Irelia. Can she get more? There's Quadra. There's one left. Levy is the only person left. Get the Penta. Can they do it? Penta kill. Penta kill for the Irelia. Penta kill for Socks and Thighs. Not only is that a win for Irelia, but it's a win for their team as well. Agni Kai takes the series to a game 1-0.
Yeah, a very strong game from Agni Kai. Their bot lane just 3-1-14, 3-0-17. Just doing super well, understanding their weak side status and playing around that. And while SOM's early game was a bit rough, it got so much better once we got into those multi-person fights and SOM was able to sneak into that backline and get those ults off. Socks and Thighs as well, just pumping out damage later on, and was already a threat in that early game. I kind of get the feeling that Irelia is not going to be back around next game.
Yeah, I kind of got a similar idea here too. I mean, this early game, you know, we had two teams that are scaling, but like both needed to win lane, and so once a lane was won, it seemed like they started like just Agni Kai just started moving around the map a whole lot more, right? Zuzu was able to get a whole lot of assists from just pointing the ultimate, just, you know, the general direction of the team fight, and half the time it was like just pushing in the top lane over and over and over again, while Shen was spending TP, was spending Stand United to get to these bot and mid lane fights.
Yeah, it was a strong early game from that Shen, but then the constant help on that bot side, the fact that So Amusing and Kibakun required so much help ended up costing the Shen that early game lead. And at that point, there was no opportunity for the Shen to actually pose a threat to that gangplank, and it was just Akatsuki Zuzu kind of just slowly but surely winning from there on.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of game 2 of Agni Kai versus Clownfish 9. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
So we bleed, cause deep, find the death that you seek. Just remember, we retreat, but we live on. Those that die unforgotten.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Esports. My name is Shinkari, and I'm putting a lot of emphasis on the correct syllables. I'm also introducing Thousand Eyes, my co-caster for this evening, and we have two teams ready to get underway for picks and bans of Game 2. Agni Kai, who's on the red side, and Clownfish 9 on the blue. Agni Kai was able to pick up Game 1, and now Clownfish 9 needs to decide what they need to do in order to turn this into a Game 3.
Yeah, they're first off, they're banning the Aurelia, taking that one
Yep.
away.
Yep.
Socks and ties, no, stop it, You're not doing that anymore.
Stop what you're doing. Don't
yeah.
like it.
And I'd like to see them have some sort of definitive engage. There you go. Okay, that's a great start. Get that Wukong.
Yep.
I'm a little surprised to see it first picked here.
Yep.
When there is other kind of power picks that are available. However, I like that they are at least having something that can just lead in immediately, and then you pick the follow-up engage. Then you get the stuff like the Galio or the Seraphine there, and make that rest of that fight very easy to do.
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me, Viego is going to be the answer for Agni Kai. Let's see what they're opting for. The second pick here, that's going to be, yep, they're locking in the Ezreal one more time. I think the Ezreal was fine. I still agree with you that that Frozen Heart Rush was so odd and delayed Ezreal's damage for so long.
Yeah, I would rather them not go for that Frozen Heart Rush again. However, it did technically win. You just gotta. I think that had more to do with the fact that the rest of the team was popping off.
Oh yeah.
But and that could happen again here. We do have a Viego that is kind of one of Viego's specialties, and Ezreal might just be looking to try and stay alive in these fights more than anything. Do expect to maybe see that Sona pick up once again in that third pick. Lilia is going to be the second pick for CF9, as they are going to have to pick either a bot laner or a mid laner here. Ashe is going to be picked up. This was banned away from CF9 last time in the second round of bans, so very important for them to get this one here. Once again, another engage tool for CF9.
Yeah, and I agree, but I don't know. It's like, if we don't want this Ezreal to pop off, right? In the previous game, I feel like Ezreal almost did that to themselves by buying the Frozen Heart first. I'll try not to harp on this too much, right? But like, Ashe is not the character to really put any pressure on the Agni Kai bot lane, who has been picking scaling AD carries and enchanters. And like, Ashe maybe would have been able to do that before, but she's not able to do that now. Volley is now an 18-second cooldown, and that's her main poke tool.
Yeah, that. To be fair, that is just level 1. It does, still get decently low in the later levels. It's just that super early game where Ashe is gonna struggle a little bit more. She does max volley first, so it will not be too long until she's able to get a couple more points in that W and reduce that cooldown. But your point still stands. It is a lot of it is going to take a lot away from the ability for Ashe to poke out Ezreal and make this lane a struggle for him.
Yeah, for sure. As now Lulu is being banned away. Certainly a very strong champion against the Viego here, but I'm not sure against the Seraphine and the Ezreal. Definitely could be pretty well paired with the Ashe, but I think there are still some better supports on the table than the Lulu at this point. And we'll have to see how it all plays out. But Nautilus is still a support that's on the table.
Correct. Nautilus is still there. The Alistar, if they want to go for an engaged support, that is a possibility. Yep. I'm going to throw it out there. Soraka is still good. Soraka is very strong right now. Yeah. The change that she got to allow her ult to remove grievous wounds before it heals people, kind of really good on a champion that is all about healing people. But okay, I like the Braum pickup too. The Braum pickup is another frontliner here to allow for Ashe to move up, and it combos well with the Ashe in terms of the slow, allowing for people to follow up, get those auto attacks off, get the stun, and then turn things into more and more wins. So CF9 right now picking up a nice, strong, kind of wombo pickish kind of composition.
Yeah, I'm going to lock in the LeBlanc as well in order to have some very strong burst damage on their team as well, and also a very solid AP threat as well. I think this phase 2 picks from CF9, this is really good. I think Ash and Braum are two very solid picks, and they're also comfort picks as well. So this is a really good pickup for CF9 here. So Amusing does have some really good games on the Ash, and a whole lot of, and Kibakun has a lot of practice on the Braum as well, and also plays into a lot of these champions real well too. Blocks Ezreal and Seraphine ultimate, which is gigantic, and blocks a
Anivia?
decent chunk of damage from Vladimir and Anivia being locked in as well.
Yeah, okay. So the Anivia here is not what I expected. I expected this Vlad to be a mid laner here. Anivia does not have the most fun time against LeBlanc in the early game. Usually one of LeBlanc's weaknesses is the fact that her early game clear is not great. She struggles shoving the lane to be able to roam unless she is committing that jump into the enemy team. But Anivia definitely does not have anything to really kind of go back against this LeBlanc in the early game. Level 6, yeah, Anivia will outpush LeBlanc, but up until that point, LeBlanc should have control of this lane. And when LeBlanc has control of a lane, it is a very scary time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the big thing we talk about here is that Anivia needs to really be casting spells in order to really get this wave pushing against her favor, right? So, and I think we talked about this maybe off stream a couple times, but like mana is like really hard to come by for mid laners in some cases, right? There's a lot of the items that folks were using for the longest time are now gone. Like they just don't exist in the game anymore in order for you to get that mana, right? It's just kind of, that's why you see a lot of people building tier in some cases. Like Athene's Unholy Grail was an item that people built, or excuse me, what is it? Everflowing Chalice? Is that what it was called? I'm now blanking on the name. But there was an item that just gave you percentage
Chalice of
mana
Harmony?
based on the yeah, it's the one that gave you missing mana mana regeneration equal to a percentage of your missing mana, right? And you would
Yeah,
build that mid lane and your mana problems would just be poof gone, right?
correct.
With that item gone and you forcing to build into this lost chapter and maybe a Doran's Ring in order to have that mana regeneration to stay in lane, it's going to be real tough for this Anivia, right? She has to be really trying to shove the wave into the LeBlanc, which is really tough for a low level mage that doesn't have a lot of mana to begin with and doesn't really have the tools to really push the wave as effectively pre-6.
Yeah, so we will see how that is going to work out. Socks and Thigh is going to have to play pretty conservatively early on, as will the rest of Agni Kai here. They're looking to hit that level 6 point and try and force fights around objectives, and ideally have Viego clean up. You know, you have the Seraphine ult, the Vlad ult, Anivia has a lot of AoE, Ezreal can poke from super far. All of that is just to set up this Viego, because when he gets a kill, he can then steal, go from there, keep stealing, keep going off and getting those resets. That is the game plan for Agni Kai, whereas CF9, they can go for more of a split push with this composition they've built. It's got a little bit of Wombo when you take the Wukong and the Lilia into account.
Yes.
But with the Ashe and the LeBlanc, you're looking at two champions that can catch people out in rotations, get them off kilter, and turn the momentum back in CF9's favor very quickly if Agni Kai gets sloppy.
Yeah, this is such a good comp for doing those two things specifically. I totally agree with you. Wukong's split push game is very good, and so is Lilia's with the amount of AoE damage that they have and how easy it is for them to clear minions, right? And even if you wanted to go for a 1-3-1 here, Ashe is no slouch when it comes to wave clear later in the game.
Yeah.
And especially with the Baron buff as well, it should make LeBlanc able to push a lot easier. And with Braum there, it's very easy for them to kite back off of a team fight initiation from the enemy team, which, by the way, isn't very good.
Foolish.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
That just goes to show you're nothing
And
but
we
a
will
whiskey
have to see it.
dog.
I do like seeing Levy on the Lilia once again. That did look to be a very comfortable champ for Levy.
agree.
Looked very good all around on it, despite the unfortunate loss. And maybe considering the fact that Agni Kai do not have as much of an early game as they did last time, you'll see Levy pop off a little bit more, get those big ultimates, and try and kill this Anivia or Vladimir just by catching them out with that sleep.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is definitely both. This is definitely both. Looking at this again, these are two compositions that kind of want to scale here, but I do give the advantage earlier to Clownfish 9 here. I think Braum is going to enable this Ashe to do a lot more damage with her auto attacks than she would normally, especially with his passive. I think, excuse me, Wukong's earlier levels are a lot better than Vladimir's, and Lilia's early levels are significantly better than Viego's, right? And so it's going to come down to a lot of these early games, and Levy really has to be the one facilitating a lot of the things around the map. Levy's really got to be everywhere, and L- uh, Lilia has a lot of movement speed to work with, and if Levy builds boots as quickly as they did in game one, probably will be an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and also you're looking at this bot lane here. One of the things that was kind of you talked about it early in the draft in game one. It was kind of just all right, we're just gonna sit back and farm up. This time around, it's not Caitlyn Seraphine. It is Ashe Braum against the Ezreal Seraphine, and that has a lot more potential to create opportunities, especially if you catch that Seraphine out in lane. There's you bring LeBlanc down, Lilia. Even if you do blow that flash, the ability to dive deep and get the kill on the Seraphine is still very much there.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is I mean I personally like the Sona more than the Seraphine here because I think Seraphine I think Sona will combo more with Anivia just because of how she needs to interact with her ultimate. But that's neither here nor there. I think the Seraphine pickup here is really, really big and could lead into some very strong um into some strong combos with the Anivia and the Viego as well. But I think you said it best. This team comp really looks like it's there to whittle down the enemy team to let Viego pop off with that ultimate and constantly go through and possess the enemy team one by one by one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna really depend on that. If Viego cannot get those resets, a lot of this team is just gonna rely on that wombo combo. So keep your eyes on SOM. He did have a weak early game last time around, so if he has that happen again, it might start to snowball against them.
Yeah, and I think SOM had a couple greedy dives as they got
Mhm.
ahead as well, which led to their death a couple times in the very late stages of the game, and not a whole lot in response as well. So we'll have to wait and see how this game plays out. But we're going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift of Agni Kai versus Clownfish 9 Game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
This is Ice-T.
Stone Cold Steve Austin and
Natty Ice.
this is a cold call.
I convinced NFL teams to turn to cold water washing with Tide.
The NFL.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Esports. My name is Shin Kari. I am joined by Thousand Eyes, and we are on the Rift for Week 7 of our Gold League play. Agni Kai is up against Clownfish 9, Game 2. Agni Kai is looking to close it out. Clownfish 9 is looking to turn it into a Game 3, and we're ready to get this show on the road. Thousand, you ready?
Yeah, I am ready. Everything getting pretty standard as you would expect. Yeah, as you get the spam. One of the things that I always love, and Riot has said that they do this now. They know that people like to spam the emotes when they look silly, so they will make things that intentionally look kind of silly when you spam them. I think Evelyn is a very good example where if you spam her one emote, it is very goofy. She just spins in place very quickly.
I think that's the same for Morgana as well. I think Morgana also has like an endless spin. Like and for Kale as well. I think Kale also has like an endless spin. Morgana, you have to be like a little more timely with it. Like you can't just keep slamming the button. My favorite is I think someone just keeps like sparkling over and over again. Like they just keep. I don't remember which champion it was. All I remember is I looked over at a blue buff where like a bot lane was, and there's just one person just ching 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 ching, just like shining over and over again, like just being a flash of light. No, it's not Tarek. It doesn't really matter, but like it was just like, whoa, okay, wow, all right.
I guess that's a thing. All right. Anyway, things getting underway. Anivia with the tier start. I did want to point out So Amusing has the lethal tempo instead of the Hail of Blades here, which may just be in part due to the fact that Ashe's early game just is not as strong as it was with the nerfs. I still think Hail of Blades would be good because the reason you take it has not changed. The Q is still just as good as it ever was, and you want to be able to stack that up as quick as possible and get that damage out early when you are trying to pressure something like an Ezreal.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree, and it also pairs pretty well with Braum as well.
Things just get pretty we are, I think, gonna have to take a quick pause as we are having some visual bug issues. We will be right back in just a second. I'm paused. Correct.
I'm paused at 3:02. Where are we at?
Are we swapped off? We're not live anymore.
Those primitive, those Fellow armsmen, I ask you, will you follow me tonight to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine? Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Oh, 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our Gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. Fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end? There's way more to avenge. Oh, 15 million souls living in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our Gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes. We had a bit of technical difficulties of having to jump back into the game over and over, so we are 5 minutes ahead. We're 8 minutes into this game, and we're going to give you a bit of an update. In the top lane, a lazy bush has been bullying Akatsuki Zuzu over and over and over again. We're looking at the top lane 2-1-1 on the Wukong, 47 CS to 37 CS on the Vladimir, with going 0-2-0, really having a tough time up there. The mid lane has been getting a whole lot of attention, but it's SOM helping out Socks and Thighs. The bot lane has been most of a tip your hat, not really a whole lot of fighting between the two bot lanes there, but there was a huge kind of scuffed fight around the dragon, this first Drake that went over to the red team early on, that ended up giving 3 kills to the Anivia and 2 kills over to the blue team as well. As now see Zuzu is in some trouble. SOM is here to support, but so is Levy. The 2v2 is happening. Akatsuki Zuzu taking incredibly low, gonna heal up off the Q, and now SOM has become Wukong. Can they get on the Levy? They're gonna find the double kill. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, that's gonna be a huge Ezreal ultimate coming across both of the blue team members. The AoE damage coming across from Seraphina, 1-2 for nothing in the bot lane, and a 2 for 0 in the top. That's a good place to finally take a lead in this game for the red team.
Yeah, it's almost like Agni Kai were like, oh hey, we're back on stream. Let's look good now. SOM does pick up a bunch of kills. They got the Viego resets that they needed. Interestingly enough, looks like we're gonna be getting the Kraken Slayer on the why is my brain blanking on his name?
It's Viego.
On
We're
Viego,
We're getting a Kraken Slayer on the Viego, which means his attacks are going to be a lot more volatile and definitely going to be dealing a whole lot more damage. It's not the Divine Sunderer build that we have been seeing on the Viego, as he's popping the Rift Herald pretty immediately in the mid lane, trying to unlock Socks and Thighs to maybe roam around the map, as SOM being dove on top, of course, to flash away.
Yeah, importantly too, this is the second time you guys didn't see the first, but this is the second time a lazy bush has kind of tried to like go super duper hard into a fight and gotten immediately blown up. So it feels like a Lazy Bush got a really solid early lead in the 1v1 and has since kind of overestimated the amount of tankiness and damage that he has, and it's starting to cost his team a little bit.
Yeah, we're slowly starting to see this game edge out into Agni Kai's favor once again, and is pretty much it's almost starting to look like a repeat of game one, where this kind of early game went in the favor of Clownfish 9, and then as the other teams started, maybe got one, maybe two victories, or able to snowball ahead of their opponents, as Lazy Bush once again 1v1ing Zuzu in this top lane.
Yeah, it's not really going to get any easier for Akatsuki Zuzu anytime soon. He's going to have to just kind of stay fairly back and just try and farm up. Once he gets like an item or two under his belt, maybe then he can start to be a little bit more of a threat, but he is just mostly immediately popping that pool as soon as a Lazy Bush tries to go in on him.
Yeah, and oddly enough, there's not a whole lot of defense. Ooh, Socks and Thighs. Oh my god, that's so much damage on the Caps off in the mid lane here. Thought that they found the real LeBlanc, but actually they had found the clone. So going to be able to secure a kill this time as Lazy Bush once again diving on top of the Vladimir. Has to pool once again, turn around. That's the ultimate. The red team picks up the dragon meanwhile in the bot lane, but it doesn't look like Zuzu's going to be able to find that intro to find that last bit of damage that they need.
Yeah, a Lazy Bush now kind of struggling without that Divine Sunder. Looks like he's going, ooh, good flash from there.
Flash over the wall. Teleport coming in from Anivia into this top lane here. Meanwhile, SOM is sitting in this bot lane, pressuring the two to get away from the turret. That's going to be the stun onto Prom. But still, I think this is just going to be mostly zoning them away from the turret.
Yeah, worth mentioning now, I believe it is going to be the Triforce pickup, not the Divine Sunder. SOM also getting a little stunned up. They want to get this tower down soon.
Let's see what they look for here. Is now they're really putting the pressure onto this turret here. Only a couple, 1.5 plates left on the bot side. Ezreal ultimate comes across, but it goes wide. Field goal, 2 points. But sadly, that's not going to help you out in League of Legends. It's chance of Crystal Arrow. There's the Glacial Fissure as well, but that's going to be the return kill onto the Ashe here. SOM is now Ashe, but underneath. Turret taken incredibly low. Has to use the ultimate in order to get away. Ignite is ticking. Oh, no. SOM is going to fall to the Ignite from LeBlanc. And that means that it's now once again a 2v2 on this bot side here, but Tortuga and Inspire have some real low health bars, and Capsop has a whole lot of mana.
Yeah, it felt a little over-aggressive as Tortuga's going to get rooted up, or sorry, Kibakun's going to get rooted up. Yeah, we'll be okay. It felt a little over-aggressive for SOM to be there and trying to get all that damage down onto the tower. You're not going to be getting a whole lot of plates at this point. You really just kind of want to wait for the plates to go away and then help one of your lanes push down these towers. Because you already have first tower brick, not really too scary anymore. And with the Ashe...
Oh no! Tortuga staying underneath turret for way too long with way too low a health bar. Now Inspire has to flash away, but that double kill, that slowed movement speed and approach velocity means you are not getting away from that Ashe. That's 2 kills for So Amusing in the bot lane.
That is a major mistake there from Tortuga and Inspire. Just, you guys are staying up way too far. Wait for the plates to go down at this point. They're too hard to take when they're that little left, and you are just really threatening a lot of engaged potential from an Ashe, not just from the ultimate, but also the slows, as you saw.
Yeah, I mean, Ashe is such a hard champion to walk away from, really. Oh, wait a minute. That's a splash. That's a stun. They found Levy. And now SOM is now Lilia. Holy mo... That was really well executed.
Yeah, flashing over the wolves to make sure that the stun got onto the deer, and then getting the Anivia ult down on top, making it pretty easy to pick that one up from that point. SOM having a field day right now.
Yeah, it's really once you're ahead as Viego, oh my, okay, So Amusing and Tortuga are 1v1ing me, bro, but So Amusing does a whole lot of damage. Here comes Viego from the top side, but EQ combo from Tortuga is going to be able to take the kill onto the Ashe in the bot lane as they're being able to pick up that turret, and Braum has to run all the way back to the tier 2.
Yeah, did not have any backup there. And So Amusing, if there was not a Viego there, might have been okay. Just the damage from Tortuga, then SOM threatening, basically telling Ashe, hey, you either fight that Ezreal or I'm gonna kill you. And Tortuga got the easy win off of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is really this is SOM's game right now.
Yeah.
Viego is a champion that feels so good when you're ahead, and look at the gold difference. We're 16 minutes in, and the red team is now hitting 30,000 gold. They're up 6.7k gold. This Viego has 4 kills, 3 assists, and a mythic item finished. Like, this is looking really, really big for a Viego game. Socks and thighs onto Kiba-kun here.
Yeah.
Half HP. I mean, they might be able to find the kill. Yeah. It's
This is it's also the Anivia game that is really threatening, because Socks and Thighs is just very, very potent at the moment, and I feel like everybody always underestimates the power that Anivia has when she starts getting ahead. If she gets any sliver of a lead, the burst that she puts out when she hits that E on somebody either hit by the Q or the full-sized ultimate, Anivia is a major, major threat.
Yeah, and take a look at the rest of the map too. There's no turrets, outer turrets left nearly for the blue team here. This last turret is holding on for dear life at 532 HP and is having this wave constantly shoved into. Lazy Bush doesn't have that lead anymore. Victor is now in a spot, or excuse me, Vladimir is now in a spot where they can just sit there and push the wave for eternity. Taps over the wall,
lots of damage.
Tries to go golden. The Seraphine ultimate comes across, but not able to land. That's going to be the egg popping up, but the whole red team is protecting the Anivia. That's going to be a TP coming down, and it's going to be SOM and Azuzu in the middle of this back line here. They really can't find any more kills than just SOM, who is insanely low. Kiba-kun's in some trouble here as Tortuga continues to move forward. Braum clicks in the opposite direction, and then, oh no! They're taking incredibly low. That shield is going to make them survivor just a little longer. They gotta keep going as Wukong is taking this opportunity. Oh no, bud, you can't back there. Oh no. Akatsuki Zuzu is going to clean up shop 4 for 1 and an Earth Drake in the bot lane, and all they traded was a turret at the top.
Yeah, and a kill on SOM, but ultimately, yeah, not worth it. And specifically, all these kills getting onto Akatsuki Zuzu. Now that lane has completely flipped. Vladimir is online, has the proto belt, or sorry, the rocket belt now, and is starting to build towards that cosmic drive, I believe. This Vladimir is going to be a very strong threat from here on forward. And the Wukong, not able to stop the TP and did not have a TP himself to come back into that fight. So it was just a 4v5 from that point. Once you hit that, it is almost assuredly a win for the team that has the extra player.
Yeah, and I want to also point this out too. There's a Viego on the enemy team with a mortal shield bow. There's a Vladimir, and there's a Ezreal with a divine sunderer, and there's a Seraphine. You want to know what's really good against all those champions? Grievous wounds. You want to know what you want? Yeah. So you probably see where I'm going with this. How many grievous wounds items do you see on Clownfish 9 right now? Just a quick. Give me a quick glance. Tell me the first number that comes in your head.
First number that came in my head was 17, but that is not
17?
correct. Yeah,
that does not sound right.
Correct is 0.
Yeah, the correct answer is 0. and it's gonna make these team fights really hard for the blue team. In addition to what already makes this team fight fair, that's a good ultimate. But Tortuga's taking incredibly low. Kibakun's gonna be able to pick up the kill here. 3v2. Inspire is now in some trouble. It's so amusing. Is looking for that last bit of damage. Gonna be underneath turret. So SOM is now here. Can they find the last bit of damage? It's gonna be stunned up. That's gonna be a lifeline shield, but that's a double kill for So Amusing. Turns out they don't even need the Grievous wounds in order to get these kills, as that's 3 for 0 in the mid lane.
Really, really strong engage there from the Ashe, forcing the Ezreal to immediately shift backwards. Inspire also got a little bit too far forward, got the sleep on, and an easy pickup for Ashe. SOM, we're seeing the same thing that we saw in game 1. A lot of engages that are just not when you need them. Just going too far in, not hitting the abilities, and not respecting the amount of peel that is on the enemy team. Kibakun is hitting the passive onto the champions that are diving and making sure that they end up getting stunned and can't keep going in. So good job from Kibakun. I want to give that shout out while I can, because Braum passive is kind of good.
Yeah, Braum passive pretty good. Turns out. more explosive, exciting, before known news coming to you at 11.
Is there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The honest is gonna be news. The news is gonna be that Peel Inspire is dead, and Enchanted Crystal Arrow is a real good tool for catching people out. As this looks like a breath of fresh air for Clownfish 9 right now. As SOM tries to dive in, get a stun, doesn't land. It takes a bunch of damage in response.
Yeah, and it's a breath of fresh air in a game where they've been choked out very consistently. Oh no,
Lazy doing
Bush.
a whole bunch of damage on the Lazy Bush here. It's a real good kind of teleport coming down from the Vladimir as well. Lazy Bush walking into a warded bush here. Flash forward. There's the storm. Gonna find that last bit of damage. Kibakun might be caught out here, but the rest of the blue team is collapsing onto the Vladimir here. Vladimir hovering around. I don't think you should be staying there, bud. Capsov dives right in, gets stunned, takes a whole chunk of damage though. Levy is finally here, gonna put that Viego to sleep in the back line there. Koski's taking incredibly low, doesn't really have anywhere to go. Gonna get the shutdown from onto LeBlanc though. Seraphine has joined the fight. Teleport coming in from Nivea as well, looking for the rest of the fight here. Can they find something? It doesn't look like they will. The blue team is backing off. No jungler, 3v4. Yeah, it just looks like that's just a clear Earth Soul right now.
Yeah, very easy pickup for them. So I'm not even having to use that smite. And we'll pick up the Earth Dragon Soul. 4 dragons immediately in the pocket for Agni Kai. And they are going to look to try and use that shield to perfection. Let's talk about fun, interesting interactions here. For those who don't know, the way Seraphine's W works is when she has a shield, her W will also do the extra pulse to heal. With Earth Soul, she always has the shield. So Seraphine gets kind of goofy when you have Earth Soul in a very fun and interesting camp.
Yeah, but she might not be goofy enough to survive this though. Tortuga caught out 3v1. Inspire not really having a good opportunity to find a place to save their AD carry here. Sauce dies. Looking for a Lazy Bush, puts him immediately into the storm. They're below half HP, but look at how much damage it's just not doing. The second ultimate from Wukong, it's not enough. Socks and Thighs is unstoppable. Gonna be able to find the kill right there. And they're fighting Levy in the top lane here. Oh my
goodness.
God, 1-2, flash forward. There's the rocket belt as well, but you're asleep. Can't find the kill while you're napping, so Levy is going to be able to leave that fight.
Yeah, Katsuki Zuzu, just take a quick little nap on the way to a Baron. Be an easy pickup here. Inspire, once again, just here, popping those W's, constant healing, has the Moonstone Renewer as well, so just, oh no, here comes Capsov.
Yeah, Capsov has gotten away here, but so it's still amusing versus the 3 here. The rest of the red team is coming down. Ezreal and Anivia are waiting in the wings here, so they're scared off of Baron for now. The red team is still waiting along the wings here. They could re-engage for a fight sometime soon. Ooh. And it might actually be now, as that's a pool underneath the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and now has to run away. Socks and Thighs looking for kill on the Levy here. Gonna dodge away around a lot of this damage from Anivia. Blocks off the pass here. Capsov looking for the kill. Goes golden. Doesn't pop the egg just yet, but there it is. Agnivia, as there's a fight along in the lane as well. And Agnivia is gonna be taken down. Ezreal Arcane shifts towards the enemies here, but has to walk away. The Lazy Bush is now fighting Inspiry, and Zuzu here forces the Zuzu to go golden, forces the flash over the wall. They're still looking for a kill. They haven't found. They finally got one, and now it's now an Ashe, but has to 1 versus 3, and that is that was a team fight. Surely, interesting.
Look, I'm gonna be real. That made no sense to me.
Yes. Yes.
I'm looking at that and I'm like, I gotta break this down later. And no, I'm not gonna. That just wasn't good all around. Socks and Thighs really. Anivia is not the champion you want to be chasing down a quick moving deer.
Yeah.
Her spells are not going to ever hit that Lilia.
As a caster, I need to stay impartial as much as possible, right? But that team fight was 3 fights in one, all trying to converge on one another, but never really happening, and people trickling in from one team fight to another one, right? And the worst people to do so too, right? Vladimir is fighting 2v1 against Ashe and Braum. Anivia is fighting 2v1 against Lilia and LeBlanc. And Diego,
2 champions she famously loves fighting against.
Yeah, it was just like the weirdest mishmash of fighting, and it was so disjointed as well. It was just a big recipe for catastrophe. But hopefully, this team fight's a little better. As Pikachu is going to be charged up here. That's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Only going to land on SLM. They find 1 kill. Can they find more? Akatsuki Zuzu is in the back line here doing so much damage. And look at that. That's exactly what you need. The recipe for success. Mamma mia. Mwah. Perfecto.
Yeah, great job there. Inspiry gets the ult down across onto the Braum, which just pulls the rest of that team back into that small area. Ezreal ult across the entirety of them, and from that point on, it is just super easy for the Anivia to be able to get damage down. SOM to keep pushing forward. They already took a chunk of damage. Akatsuki Zuzu able to also just constantly keep in people's faces. Right now, Agni Kai back on top. They've got themselves back in the saddle, and they're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, this is definitely a real good moment for Agni Kai right here. They have the Baron buff. They have this Earth Drake. They have a whole lot of health to work with if they continue to do this split push here, which it looks like they're doing 1-3-1. Anivia's making their way towards the bot lane here. Diego now down there, excuse me. And we have a reset from the bot lane, but it looks like they might go back mid.
Pretty simple for them to set up this dragon here. Agni Kai should be able to clear out all this vision being placed. And right now it is very scary if you are a fan of Clownfish 9, because they just cannot get, they're getting some good picks, but it is just constant funneling, and now Amusing getting caught.
Yeah, Amusing might be caught out here. That's going to be the Seraphine Snare looking for something here. Who comes Wukong across? Oh my god, that Ezreal ultimate is huge. So much damage. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes across, but only lands the summon to Anivia. Looking for the kill on the Levy. They're going to be able to find it, and this is huge. The Elder Drake has just spawned. 29 minutes. They might be able to get the Baron and the Elder Drake, as well as SOM. Looking for the fight, but finds a Lazy Bush instead inside the bush. This is not where you want to be for a dragon fight, bud. And that's going to be SOM falling. And so now they're going to look for the rest of the kills here. That's a great kill from the Vladimir. They're looking for more. Can they find it? Lazy Bush does so much damage now. Can they find it? They will. That's the ace. Double kill for Vladimir. A whole bunch in response. 1 for 5. This is looking great. They're picking up the Elder Drake as well.
Yeah, and what a disjointed fight all around from Clownfish 9. They start off, they get chunked out hard Amusing having to get back away towards his team, and then the Ezreal ult chunking them down. Then a lazy bush goes in, but there's nobody to help. LeBlanc isn't even anywhere near the fight. The bot lane is backing off. Levy is up on that top side near the bush into the mid lane. It's completely all over the place for Clownfish 9. They did not really prepare for that fight at all, but they kept taking it anyway, and the result is a very clear loss for them as the Elder Drake goes over to Agni Kai.
Yeah, and kind of the upsetting part is that the Wukong's flank was good, right? It got a whole lot of CC onto the red team, but there wasn't a whole lot of follow-up because Braum was near dead, Ashe was near dead after the Ezreal ultimate, Levy was running for their life from the Vladimir, and it was really just having just a rough time really finding any sort of success after that huge amount of poke damage coming down from the red team.
Yeah, very, very hard now for Agni Kai to lose this game. They are just completely running with it, and they have champions that love Elder Dragon. You're looking at Viego going, what's a champion who loves resetting off killing people and can pop people pretty quick?
Yeah, and they're up 12.4 thousand gold. They have the Earth Drake soul. They have the Elder Drake. It's just we're just in the waiting room for the post game lobby. I feel at this point they have such a huge gold lead. They've got such an easy team fight win a lot of the times. Like this is just looking real tough. Seraphine ultimate comes across. Ezreal ultimate is good as well. Looks like the fight is starting. Chance Crystalaire comes across and is going to stun up Fox and Sox and Dice. Goes golden for Tuga. However, gets the flank and gets one kill. Can they find more? They're in the gray zone. 1-2 Elder Drake pops. Can they find more? SOM is still looking for more, but that Anivia just does so much damage. Holy moly! 1, 2, 3, 4. Can they get the fifth? And it doesn't look. Ooh, they're looking for it. Yep, that's the last bit of damage. Akatsuki Zuzu gonna be able to pick up that last kill. It's not a clean ace, but an ace. And they're gonna be able to pick up that 50 gold, get that last damage onto the Nexus after, they do a little bit of styling, a little bit of BM as they pick up game 2.
Yeah. I honestly, the game was completely wild and wacky. I think both teams have a lot to learn from that second game.
Yep. Yes.
Not ideal.
Yes.
But overall, Agni Kai, when they did finally get that lead, they kind of just kept that pressure up. Socks and Ties, once again, it does not matter what you put this man on. He is going to carry the game. It's just the Anivia, crazy good. Outside of the one move where don't chase don't do that. Anivia will not win that. Outside that, really good game from this Anivia because the constant damage out, the burst just did not allow for anybody to move up onto that Anivia, onto the rest of the team. Akatsuki Zuzu struggled on the Vladimir early, eventually did start to do better and better, and got off the ground, showed up to those team fights, and completely wiped people with that Q damage, with the ultimate. Super great job from Agni Kai in the late game. Just got to work on that early game when you're running a composition like this.
Yeah, Akatsuki Zuzu had, I think, done the best in the position that they could in the early game. Like, you're up against a Wukong, and you're getting ganked a whole lot. Like, if you pool too early and don't have like the most amount of wards possible, and then Lilia shows up, it's just like, okay, well, I either spend flash and maybe lives, or I die. So I don't want to fault Akatsuki Zuzu too much, because also a lazy bush also loves 1v1ing people in the top lane like a lot. So like this top lane matchup was really not going to be a fun time when the Vladimir got locked in anyway. So I think that's totally fine. I think SOM might have been just a little too greedy here and there, opting for kills that like were not there or going in blindly into a. There was one moment where he was like, aha, I shall get the low health champion that has gone through the tri-brush, even though I don't have wards in there, and then walked into a full health Braum and was like, oh no, I'm a genius.
Who could have seen
Oh
this
no.
happening? Yeah. The other thing too is Clownfish 9 just kind of overestimating what they could do with picks, or
Yeah.
or putting themselves in positions where they are getting picked themselves. So there needs to be a little bit more coordination, specifically looking at that dragon fight, that elder dragon fight that we had. I think perfectly encapsulates the issues that Clownfish 9 are dealing with. They got to tighten that up. When you are going toward that, you need to have people around. When it is alive, people can't be in that top side. You need to have them come over. If you are going to fight it, you need them there now.
Yes. And I think this is for Agni Kai as well, because Agni Kai had a couple disjointed team fights as well. Like both of these teams are having issues with like, oh, I'm gonna 1v1 this person here, and we're gonna 1v1 this person here, and we'll,
Win?
even though there's 5 people here, something will happen. We'll win, or we'll, I don't know, walk
Yeah.
away, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh,
so
no.
overall, just a little bit of cleaning up Clownfish 9 need to
Yeah.
do, because I think ultimately there were some bright spots for them.
Yeah. But with that, we are going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Zero Gravity Gaming this evening. Thank from myself, the entire live broadcast crew, Thousand Eyes, my co-caster, and K9, our producer for this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, press that follow button on this channel and our second channel so you can keep up to date with all of our League of Legends action here. And if you're feeling generous, press that subscribe button as well. It's September, 20% off. What a deal. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, from us all here at Zero Gravity Gaming, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.
Good, cold and empty, lifeless remains. Good, good. Fields of the fallen, blood washed in rain. This cannot be all that will be. So you have torn this world apart. You came for our suffering.
Want to throw a great party? Learn how to do it right.